Hello, Internet. uh, for those of you who may be unaware, I am a very big a very big Disney Parks fan. I've been very interested in them since we used to go all the time as a kid. And they just announced a bunch of new stuff for them at D23 this year. Uh, and I wanted to share my thoughts on some of it. I actually watched last year's event live, and that was interesting because it was really boring. I ended up just stopping caring halfway through because they were not showing anything of substance that I possibly cared about. Um, Spoilers. I don't think this year was much better because I'm starting on an announcement for Star Tours. Yay! I've got all these tweets lined up, basically in order of like I have the least to talk about to I have the most to talk about. So if you really want like interesting takes, where I actually have substantial opinions, skip to about here, and you'll get good stuff. But I think the last time they actually updated Star Wars was or Star Tours, sorry, was I think they added scenes from The Mandalorian. It's kind of a good indicator of whatever Disney thinks is a successful Star Wars Disney Plus show, because then they put it in here. Neat. I'm kind of surprised that this ride still exists. I mean specifically the Walt Disney World one. It's almost on like a prime spot on like there's a Star Wars attraction like right here, and the Galaxy's Edge is like right here. It's really weird. They're two very different rides. I mean, I still like it. I've been on it somewhat recently, and it's definitely still a fun time. But it's a little weird that it's still here. But it's nice to see them still supporting it, still keeping it alive, especially with isn't it called Star Tours: The Adventures Continue? Maybe they're dropping that part of the name. Honestly, I'd be okay with that because it's basically just Star Tours to everyone. Moving on. Ah, yes. So I'm pretty sure this was announced last year. Hold on. Let's just acknowledge this. Late November. He's missing Halloween. How is that even possible? I've been hearing about this for ages. If I remember rightly, this was supposed to be coming to Walt Disney. So, for reference, what this is. This is a new animatronic being added to the ride. That's it. This was added to the Disneyland version I don't know how long ago. I don't really think it's that important. I mean, it's cool. Like his head it was like here, and then whoa, it's over here now. Yeah, neat, I guess. I don't remember this guy in the Disneyland version, even though I'm pretty sure I wrote it when he was there. But it is nice to see this ride get some love. I've always loved this ride. I'm not like a huge diehard for it, but I quite like it. The movie was quite good. I saw that pretty much when it was new. Um, Go watch it. I never said go watch it in theaters. I just said go watch it. The big problem that I have with this is that they're putting him right at the front of the ride, like right at the beginning of the ride, which doesn't make sense story wise. They're putting him basically right before the scene where the ghosts like materialize, or like where the seance happens so that the ghosts materialize. It's a little complicated. Basically, this is really stupid. There's no way this should have taken this long to get done. There's no reason why he should be here instead of in the same place that he is in the Disneyland version. This is really weird. I don't know why they're doing it this way. I don't know why it's taken this long, but everything they do takes this long, so I shouldn't be surprised. But like it's just a little strange, but overall, I mean, it's fine. No one's I mean, like only people like me are going to care that the story doesn't make sense. But it is still kind of depressing to see Disney just completely ignore the story of their own attraction. I didn't watch, but apparently I heard that they like spent like a couple minutes trying to justify why they put him here. And I'm like, if you have to justify why you've put an animatronic in a spot that doesn't make sense in the story, couldn't you just put it in a place that makes sense in the story? Anyway, this I actually have some thoughts on. I do not remember the Country Bear Jamboree show. I think I've seen it before, but it's been a very long time. It's been a very long time. And I've been hearing stories and rumors and stuff about this thing closing for ages. At some point, not too long ago, Disney ran through and did like a, I don't know what you'd call it. Basically a committee that just decided if attractions needed to be removed for, I guess, like cultural reasons, being insensitive, all that kind of thing. It's the reasons why the Jungle Cruise got a pretty substantial update. Why Splash Mountain's being removed. This was on the list. And so the fact that this is staying alive just with Disney songs instead of whatever songs they originally sang, I don't actually know what those songs were, but I mean, it's bears from the West. I can't imagine they were that polite all the time. They're keeping the characters. They're probably going to rebuild them to be like new modern animatronics. I can't find a way to complain about this. It was either they sing Disney music or they die. I would rather them live. The Magic Kingdom is in desperate need of show capacity, and that damn theater they announced all those years ago would have been amazing, but they never built it. Anyway, yeah, hopefully this does actually happen. From what I understand, the music for this has actually been recorded, so there's a decent chance this does actually close to be renovated. I really hope it does. I think this will actually breathe some new life into it. I think this means it's gonna stick around. Even though I don't personally have any kind of like nostalgia towards this, I said I don't remember it, but this actually does make me quite happy. I like this announcement. Yes, now we get to the Epcot section. Oh boy. Oh boy. So this whole Epcot revitalization thing has kind of been heartbreaking to me, and I will get into this a little more later. But, this, I don't know how I felt about this. A little pessimistic. Because of this part. This part wasn't what I wanted to see. Epcot is a place that, like, I grew up with and I always loved. Like, as a dumb kid who didn't understand any of it, I always loved this place. I always loved, like, the educational rides. I love Spaceship Earth. I really do love Spaceship Earth. I still do, and I did back then. So seeing this whole like IP-ification of the park, sometimes I'm okay with it. The Frozen ride, I mean, Maelstrom is again a favorite of mine, but it was nothing impressive. It probably is better off as Frozen now. The park is probably better off as Frozen now. World Showcase is an IP dumping ground, and I mean, like, it's at least Norway. It's not a Frozen land, as much as the Frozen land's coming to, what is it? Paris, Hong Kong. I think that's all of them that have been announced. Oh, Tokyo's getting that bit. The Norway Pavilion, I at least... It's small, but it's nice. I've been on Frozen Ever After. It's alright. Well, I wouldn't say alright. It's pretty good. The projected faces are weird. I'm glad they're getting rid of that. That's basically all I remember. Remy's Ratatouille Adventure I've been on recently, and I can firmly say that I really like. I think it's a super tasteful addition to the park. I was worried this wouldn't be. You know, inspired by Moana. Almost feels like it's like being like, oh, you know, it's not that Moana, guys. You can't complain about it. It's only inspired by Moana. It's not Moana Journey of Water. And then, you know, we see, like, this symbol and, like, the giant, like, what is it, like, 12-foot statue of, Te Fiti. I feel like that might be potentially spoilers for the movie. It's in the attraction anyways, so I think Disney's decided that it's not spoilers anymore. But, like, I was looking at this and I was like, does this really work? But cast member previews have been going on, and like some of the the media has been getting into it, and apparently this has been getting really, really good reviews. People really like it. So I will reserve my judgment. I'm a little more hopeful for this. I would love to experience this in, like, I don't know, when I can legally pee in the state again. So we'll see. We'll see how that goes. But it's nice to see this finally get an opening date. It's been way too long. Um, the weird thing to me is that this is opening before the damn pathways in the center of the park. I don't know how up to date this concept art even is anymore. This saddens me. I remember seeing when this was announced originally, when so much was going to happen here, when this building... so, see this building over here? There was another one over here. And they demolished this side. Notice how this side is awfully familiar in shape? Yeah, they rebuilt this part because they budget cut the structure that was going to go here and built this back instead. Planning. Well done, guys. This is just weird. I honestly do not have any care into what they're gonna put in here. It looks boring, uninteresting. Like, cool, there's a statue of Walt Disney. I don't really care. The cool, like, interactive stuff doesn't seem to be here anymore. I don't even know if I see a damn Fountain of Nations anymore. I think they actually legitimately killed that, and that's just kind of sad. That's, like, an icon of the place. Maybe someday I would like to, do another one of these and maybe talk just about Epcot as a whole, just my thoughts on it more comprehensively. But that would be for another time, because now we have, this stuff was already announced. We already know this is just like December. How long have you been working on this? I'm pretty sure this area was blocked off in a pile of dirt when I was there in like early 2021. And it was long before that you closed it off. It's pathways. It's boring. It's wild how long this is taking, especially with how much stuff didn't happen, but I digress. So I have absolutely no faith in this. I have no expectations. I saw Harmonious, the show that this replaced. For reference, for the 50th anniversary of Walt Disney World a couple of years back, that's wild to say now. Holy crap, I can't believe it's been that long. Harmonious debuted, replacing the Epcot show Illuminations. I don't remember Illuminations. So that didn't really affect my opinion of the show. What they did is, in World Showcase Lagoon, there were big barges. One big circular one that I just drew with my mouse there, and then 4 ones that the people call them taco barges, and yeah, that is kind of what they were shaped like. They were permanently out there. They obstructed views across the place. They were really ugly. And walking around World Showcase really does feel different with giant, ugly, stupid things in the center. I never liked them. I never, ever liked them. And then the show. Harmonious is a show that I watched all the way to the end, and I kind of just, leaving the park after it, I was like, I don't know what to think about this. I legitimately could not, like, figure out if I liked it or not. I didn't know what I felt. I didn't really feel anything. I really dislike it. I think it's an awful show. I think Harmonious was an awful show, 'cause it's dead as hell. It was just not really that interesting. It didn't make me feel anything, and I feel like Epcot shows, that's kind of the point. And like Disney California Adventures World of Color made me feel something when I saw that, and Harmonious didn't do that for me. It wasn't really about anything. It had no message. It had no story. It was just Disney IPs. Notice how harmonious and luminous basically end the exact same way? They aren't really helping with the opinion of this one right off the start. I do have maybe a little faith that maybe the Symphony of Us means they've tried this time. But I don't trust them. I at least appreciate that they, in one way or another, accepted that they screwed up and said, all right, we'll remove the barges, we'll put something smaller in the center that doesn't obstruct viewpoints, and, we'll see. But do I trust entirely that they've made a show that, isn't bad? No. No, I don't. But I would love to be proven wrong. There's literally no evidence to this. It's just a gut feeling. If they've actually created something, because we all know it's going to be Disney songs, but if they can actually create something that has some kind of meaning that isn't just modern Disney IP, maybe I'll like this one. I mean, I like Disney Enchantment, and everyone said that was crap, so, maybe I'll like this eventually. Whew. And now... So, before I get to my subjective opinion part of this, my immediate thoughts upon seeing this, let's be entirely objective, at least as objective as I can be, about what this is. So, Test Track is a sponsored attraction. General Motors, or Chevrolet in this case, sponsored this attraction, and they are the ones paying for this. They're the ones putting money into this to make this happen. This isn't done on Disney's dime, at least not entirely. This is kind of how Epcot used to run entirely. Quite a few attractions used to be sponsored. Like the Old Wonders of Life was MetLife. The original Journey into Imagination was Kodak. Are those the only ones I remember? Siemens sponsored Spaceship Earth until I believe very recently they pulled the plug. But either way, this used to be how things worked at Epcot. So it's no surprise, really, to see them put more money into this. To do what will essentially be Test Track 3.0. It wasn't that long ago, I don't actually know the numbers here, that we got Test Track 2.0, the current version, and then, of course, the original version way back when. All of which have been... Those two were pretty different, aesthetically. I wouldn't say thematically they were that different, but very different aesthetically and experience-wise in terms of, your pre-boarding. Because they added, an interactive element to Test Track 2.0, which definitely changed the ride up quite a bit. And so this one, they say they're reaching back into history for inspiration from the original World of Motion. For those who may not know, World of Motion was the original attraction, opening day, I do believe, that occupied the space that Test Track currently does. I have no idea what it was about, but I think it was the kind of thing where it was the future of transportation and all that. Kind of like how Spaceship Earth is the history of communication. It was the history of how people got around, and it would evolve into I know there's a big scene where there's this big futuristic city in the center and all that. So I think it was that kind of thing. Kind of like how I firmly believe that modern Test Track is about the future of transportation. But that's, again, a little opinion. So, all in all, it's pretty hard to argue this isn't a good thing for the ride. It's getting an update. It looks like, maybe, this is very early concept art, likely, artist concept only. Does that say 2022? Oh, no, it says 2023. Good. That'd be real weird. What we're getting here is substantial. This is no refresh. This is a reimagining. It's Test Track 3.0. Now we get into how I felt when I first saw this and my opinions on this, because I saw this picture and this line, and I was pissed. I was so very pissed. Before you really comprehend that this is a sponsored attraction and that this isn't on Disney's dime, my first thought was, why? This is a modern, good attraction already. Test Track 2.0 is, to me, one of the last bastions of, like, what Epcot was. And there's a very specific moment. The first time I ever did it, I mentioned this interactive bit. Basically, you design a car. Like, the shape of it for, like, aerodynamics. You pick, like, parts. Like, I don't remember specifics. But what I did, I was pretty young at the time. It was a pretty new attraction. I think Pokemon Go was, relatively new. So, place your timeline there. And, everyone goes for power. You design it. You have, like, 5 stats. Or 4, maybe? I actually don't entirely remember. I feel bad that I don't because I love this thing. But power. That's the stat everyone goes for. You build a supercar. I didn't. I built kind of like, like an efficient, I think it was an electric car. That's what I went for. That was the route that I went for. And as you go through the attraction, the idea is that the current version, you're on a simulated test track. I guess that's why it's called that. And you're going through and you're testing all the elements of your car, and you get like a leaderboard for everyone in your current ride vehicle as to who's performing the best. So obviously, I tanked the power stuff, but I won in every other category. I don't remember what they are right now, but like I got to the end of that attraction and I was like, huh. By going like the efficiency route instead of just, raw power, by building something that felt almost like future-y to me, like what, I don't know exactly how to put this into words, but I had that kind of moment where it was like almost eye-opening to what the future of transportation might look like. And to this day, it's something that I still think about a lot, and it's potentially the root of my, pretty distinct passion for, I won't call it passion, but my opinion towards, like, an electrified future for vehicles. That's a whole other topic, because, we're a long ways away from that, a lot further than the government wants to believe. But anyway, that moment to me was pure Epcot. I really learned something in that moment. And so seeing something that truly feels Epcot to me, announce that it's getting reimagined, is saddening to watch, a park that they've been doing this to, and this, and I'm not going to complain about this yet, and potentially screwing it up. I mean, I know they say they're reaching into history, which gives me hope, but I don't know, man. I don't know if they'll do it. I don't know if they'll pull it off. It worries me a little bit, but I trust that they're talking about this. It's on Chevrolet's dime. This is already a proven known attraction. I have a feeling that maybe they will go, a little crazy on this one and, build something that once again feels like the spirit of this park. Which is a hard thing to, like, explain to someone who maybe doesn't care about it the way that I do. A lot of it is a nostalgia thing, but I feel like there's a distinct feeling to this park, at least there used to be, of that kind of, like beautiful futurism. I love how many views this has gotten because I accidentally reloaded the page. I'm surprised so many people are still looking at this. To be fair, that might have all just been me because, Twitter sucks. Why did this piss me off so much? I like this attraction. Why would it be upset, or why would I be upset that it's getting an update? Well, It's not that I'm upset that this is getting an update, other than, maybe my lack of faith towards whether or not it'd be done right. My gut reaction was, why an already popular, already modern, up-to-date attraction? Why not Spaceship Earth? Why not Journey into Imagination? Why not, I don't know, Living with the Land, The Seas with Nemo and Friends? Dare I say Soarin'? Why not any of those? Especially Journey into Imagination or Spaceship Earth. Especially considering Spaceship Earth had that announced. We saw beautiful concept art for what I thought was the perfect re-theme. It was such a good idea. And it's just never gonna happen now. At least, who knows when it's gonna happen. At this rate, I have no faith it's gonna happen anytime soon. That's an aging old attraction. It's not looking good. It really could have used it. It really could have used, that new angle on its scenes, swapping it. It would be swapping from communication to storytelling. So it'd be the history of storytelling, which I think is a very perfect way to blend Epcot and Disney if done right. I think that was a really good idea, and it's just sort of gone. Journey into Imagination is a childhood favorite of mine, even if it's... Well, Journey into Your Imagination starring Figment. I'm not talking about the original here. I'm not talking about the weird interim one. I'm talking about the current version that there is now. I believe that's the only one I've ever experienced. It's Figment. It's the Figment ride. That's always what I called it. It's falling apart too. The last time that I was on it, the first scene is the ride goes through like the five senses, except it actually doesn't. The first one is sound, and the audio was broken. It didn't play. I've never had that kind of thing on like any ride as far as I know, and it's just kind of this moment of like, man, this thing really is falling apart, isn't it? It hurt a little bit. And to see all these attractions where I'm like, oh man, what if this is the time where Spaceship Earth, or definitely Journey into Imagination, gets its so much needed update. And this is the image that I see. I just see Slot Car Test Track getting its third iteration instead of, something that really needed it. It hurts. It hurts to watch this place that I love continue to fall to pieces from sheer neglect. And the one thing that I definitively still have so much, heart and love and appreciation for, just kind of, I don't know, goes into jeopardy a little bit. I don't fully expect this to be bad. I really don't. But it's a little scary. I hope this turns out well. But as an Epcot fan, this feels like a gut punch. To watch all of the stuff that really needed it. The damn Play Pavilion, that damn abandoned dome. That got canceled. This Epcot reimagining has been a disaster. Nothing happened. Nothing that needed it. All we got was a Guardians of the Galaxy roller coaster. And I mean, that might be neat. I haven't been on it. Mission Breakout is my favorite ride on the Disneyland Resort, so maybe I'll just really love it. But, like, come on, that's not Epcot. But this is happening. Will be. Odds are, like, almost 100%. This is happening. This is an announcement of this will happen. These are not. I'm going to breeze through these pretty quickly because I want to talk about the real elephant in the room about these. The Magic Kingdom is getting a Pirates of the Caribbean lounge, I don't know, restaurant dining experience, whatever you want to call it. I don't really have much to say about this. It's tough to be a bug. So the Tree of Life theater, which is Animal Kingdom, right underneath the big tree, there's a showdown there. It's becoming Zootopia. I don't know how this is going to work in that theater, because that theater is very It's Tough to Be a Bug. It fits very well in there. I don't know how this is going to work. Say what you want about, Zootopia not belonging in Animal Kingdom with its message. I personally do very strongly agree with that. That, Animal Kingdom is kind of a little bit of a sacred spot, and maybe this is a little bit of a disgrace, but this is the worst disgrace. I'm gonna actually click on the picture for this. So, this is where some problems start to arise, because Dinoland USA, I do believe, last year's D23, they announced, quote unquote, they did this little section where it was like, what if? Because they had nothing to announce. So the ideas were this expansion beyond Big Thunder Mountain at Magic Kingdom. So kind of on like the top lefty parts of the Rivers of America and all that. Whatever. Not important right now. And then a retheme of Dinoland USA, which is, not exactly a strong part of the park. It's a part of the park that, has Chester and Hester's Dinorama, which doesn't have Primeval Whirl, which was a spinning Wild Mouse roller coaster. That's been torn down. It doesn't exist anymore. Now all it has is a Dumbo clone with Triceratops. And, I think there's some, food stands. There's, a gift shop back there. And there's Dinosaur, the dark ride, the opening day ride, formerly Countdown to Extinction. It's not exactly a popular part of the park. It's not exactly, a big deal. Dinosaur, I would like to experience Dinosaur again. I didn't get the chance the last time I was there. I waited 2.5 hours for Flight of Passage instead. But it was announced last year, again, announced, quote unquote, that they were considering retheming Dinosaur to Zootopia, and the area that would be like Dinorama and all that, the rest of Dinoland, would have this weird Moana boat ride thing. I bring up the concept art, but I don't want to Google right now. And, Zootopia, the original person who was, creatively spearheading the park, Joe Rohde, I do believe, was very against Zootopia. Because, the whole point of Animal Kingdom, it's about, conservation and, humans' relationship with nature and the planet and all that kind of thing. Which is why Avatar is there, because, it's about that kind of thing. It's about, relationship with nature, conservation, that sort of thing. As far as I know, I haven't actually seen the movie, but, it's that kind of themes that are throughout it. And you can feel that in the land. It feels natural the way that it's done. And Zootopia doesn't really fit there. However, before these announcements, before this show, we got a sneak peek at what Shanghai Disneyland is getting. They're building a Zootopia land right now, and it looks fantastic. It looks great. Maybe the facades do look a little cheap, a little flat, a little weird, of some of the buildings. It doesn't look quite right everywhere, but overall it looks very, very well done. I was very, very surprised by those pictures, and in that moment seeing those, I was like, this is something I would like to experience, and I'm probably never going to make it to, Shanghai Disneyland, China. If this came to Animal Kingdom, I would probably be okay with it. And Moana was a joke. It should never come to Animal Kingdom. Adventureland? Sure. But here? No. And then this is revealed. So, what this is a, a concept for Dinoland to become... I guess this is Indiana Jones and this is Encanto? And then there's all this other stuff going on. Okay, so Indiana Jones, well, the Indiana Jones adventure at Disneyland, which is, pretty good. I really like it. Is just a near clone of Dinosaur. They're very similar rides. Same ride system, very similar ride layouts. Dinosaur is missing a scene. I think it's missing like a bridge scene kind of thing. I don't know the specifics here. I know Dinosaur is shorter though. That's the cheap option. That's the, oh, we'll do something we've already done option. What the hell do either of these two properties have to do with nature, Animal Kingdom, any of it? I don't get this. I was very confused by this. And then talked about plans. Finalizing the concept. Imagineers are in the design process now. Notice that all of this concept art is very vague, doesn't really say much of anything. This is just kind of a weird picture. This doesn't really show much of anything. None of these projects have been greenlit. These are not firm announcements. Now, these two, okay, this, I mean, who knows if this is gonna happen, really? This is a toss-up. This could happen. But this? Who knows? They've already announced 2 ideas for this area. Who knows how many more they're gonna come up with? And that was the real killer here. How much was actually really announced here? Let's go through. This is new. We already knew about this. This was new, but we kind of already knew about this. We kind of already knew this was coming, but not really. This wasn't new. This wasn't new. The only thing new here is the name and the date. Okay, technically, the dates here are new, but you know what I mean. Just a date, just a date, just a date and a name. This was new. This is the only new ride I've brought up so far. Ride. New update to an attraction. New show. Update to a show. What was this? Yeah, whatever. So this, I will call this a new ride. This is a substantial update to a ride. And then 3 ideas. 3 maybes. What is there to be excited about here? A reimagining of an already popular attraction? To be fair, a lot of people are, pretty into this. Because, a lot of people don't like Test Track 2.0. I like Test Track 2.0. But, we can all agree, this is probably one of the last things that needed an update at Epcot. A show that we know nothing about. A goddamn plaza that we know is going to be uninteresting and boring. And then we already know what this is going to be like. It's just a date. And then, it's just so little to be excited about. And they're just giving ideas, concepts. It's pathetic that after an entire year since the last announcement of what's coming to Dino Land, they couldn't even greenlight something. They couldn't start work. How long is it gonna be until a new attraction, something that isn't just a retheme, a reimagining, an update, comes to this resort? And Disneyland, too, they didn't get any announcements. I know they just got, Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway, Avengers Campus relatively recently, Tron opened relatively recently at Walt Disney World, but we're going into a dry spell here. What do we have until 2024? Tiana's Bayou Adventure, a retheme of, again, another popular attraction. It's just a retheme of Splash Mountain. What's possibly going to get done by 2025? when Universal's opening their brand new theme park, Disney has no response. They have nothing. They haven't broken ground on anything. With how slow they've been constructing things, I don't see what they're doing here. It's baffling to me to think that they can literally produce nothing in so long. This concept art right here is nothing. This doesn't tell us anything because it's not final. The two properties could switch again, for all we know. This could just never happen. Dinosaur could just be left to rot, and Chester and Hester's could be walled off for all we know. And this to me is the definition of, like, pure... I don't even know. Idiocy. Just a complete lack of having any idea what you're doing. It baffles me that they can't get that a project just cannot get greenlit. And, you know, we're delving this far into bad ideas, into cheap ideas. It almost feels like that this is them, you know, trying to propose an even cheaper option, an even less impressive option. An option where instead of, you know, retheming the spinner ride, like in the previous concept, you know, it's not here. Are they just gonna tear it down? Because that's cheaper to do. It's cheaper to build a freaking pavilion there instead of, you know, putting a little bit of effort into a Dumbo clone. It's cheaper to throw like a 20, 30-year-old... I mean, it's not that old. The attraction's been updated, but you know what I mean. An old design onto an attraction and call it a day. Throw a popular IP from one park to another until it finally lands somewhere. And that's it. I mean, this is very early concept art. This isn't reflective of what we'll get if this is the IPs we're gonna get. But when I thought this was confirmed, I didn't care. Okay. Like, sure, I've been on this before. And I mean, like, alright. What are you gonna put in here? Like a trackless dark ride or something? Alright. Done 3 of those before. It's just... This doesn't feel like really much of anything to me. And it's just sort of saddening. You know, they can't even get a show finalizing the concept. You haven't, you know, the concept. The concept. You haven't designed the show. What are you announcing the show and it's going to open in 2026? Okay, that's probably not actually going to happen. It's probably not going to be 2026. But if it is, put it on the record that I called it. It's just, it's weird to watch them not be able to do a single thing. I was sure, so sure, that we were going to get something here. They had to do something, right? They had to. They had to pull on their boots and get to work on something so that they'd actually have something substantial coming in the pipeline. Some reason to keep people coming in to parks that are, you know, not doing as well as they were. Attendance is going down. Things aren't looking bright. And they have nothing to keep people coming in. You know, for the next... They don't have anything for like a year, I think. Until, like, our retheme of Splash Mountain opens. And then what the hell do they have? Goddamn Dorney Park. And, like, wherever the hell Pennsylvania has a more compelling reason to visit it this year than the Walt Disney Company. You've never even heard of Dorney Park. I mean, maybe you have. I shouldn't assume. Like, Disney just cannot seem to invest money into this stuff. And yeah, I know damn well that the financials of this company are, in a wild state right now. It's a weird thing. But it's like, is there really not enough money to do, like, anything? This is the most, basically, one of the few parts of the company that's been doing well recently, and they can't put anything into it. Meanwhile, well, domestically, because meanwhile, I didn't watch the show. I didn't pay to go, obviously, but people did. I believe this was in Florida this year, and I don't know how expensive it is, but the people that you're getting going to this show are, some of the most hardcore of hardcore fans. I've been sitting here talking for 45 minutes, but that doesn't, it's not enough for me to fly down to Florida to sit in a show and watch Josh D'Amaro say that he's got so many big plans, and all that they are is plans, and there's nothing concrete yet. That's not what he said, but it's what he said. And all that you get is no substantial announcements except a couple release, like, opening dates. Test Track's gonna close at some point. And then you watch them announce, or not announce, but put on screen, here's the massive new land coming to Tokyo Disney Sea with 3 massive dark rides, a flat ride, a brand new hotel, and tons of, probably, a decent amount of, like, eating locations and gift shops and all that. Oh yeah, check out, Shanghai Disneyland's new Zootopia land. Check out, Disneyland Paris's big new expansion, Walt Disney Studios Park, Disneyland Paris, technically. Check out Hong Kong Disneyland's new Frozen Land. All this stuff, and it's just like, you're kind of just taunting your fans at that point. You're kind of just looking at your audience and saying, hey, bet it sure sucks that this is the park that you get to go to, right? Wouldn't you really like to be living in Japan right now so that you can go to a park that actually gets investment? That, because after this, they've got a Horizon. They're demoing. They're not demoing. They're building a new Space Mountain after this. There's a future at these other parks. Hong Kong Disneyland, maybe not. Shanghai, not yet. But, they've got something on the horizon. Paris has things on the horizon. Paris has things to look forward to. And the domestic parks don't. There's nothing to look forward to. And they've given no reason to look forward to it. And, like, what's the point in going back? What does announcing nothing and just showing this idea do? What's the point of putting on this whole show and pretending you're gonna announce things and then showing nothing, pretending you have news? It almost feels like you're like that, like, oh, this is enough. Yeah, we'll tease you. They'll like that. They'll like being teased. Is that what people want? Since when is that something people wanted? I'm sure someone wants that, but whatever. You get what I mean. This is pathetic. This is pathetic. This is absolutely pathetic. And I say this as someone who deeply, deeply, deeply loves the things that this company and Imagineering and these parks do. This is pathetic. Everything about this is entirely pathetic. Stop giving blue sky looks. Get money and greenlight a project. I don't care who you are. I don't care what your situation is. You're Disney. This is your business. You are doing nothing. Absolutely nothing. Except for pissing me off, I guess. And I mean, if you want to continue doing that, like, I won't stop you.